Hi, everybody. Hello, we're getting set up. We're getting in here. So welcome, welcome, welcome. Everybody who's showing up live, and even if you are watching back on the replay, welcome to you as well. This is your weekly horoscope for the week of June 6th, 2022, where just what a week to be going into. We've just come off of Mercury coming direct, which is brilliant in that energy that is like we've already seen it, right? Like we've already seen the workings and the energetic like hodgepodge of what's been going on during Mercury retrograde, which again, I want to point out, I don't think that Mercury retrograde is negative. I don't think that it is negative at all, whether it's in your natal chart, whether it's in the sky. None of those positions do I think are negative. They can be entirely useful. For me, the majority of the Mercury retrograde was actually in my business house, right? So my 10th house, tip top of the chart, really great. I finished out all sort of business projects that I just for the life of me could not get to before then. So let me know in the chat if you are showing up here. How did the Mercury retrograde go for you? I mean, and we're just out of Mercury retrograde, like just like today. Welcome. Hello, everyone. And as soon as we are out of Mercury retrograde, right, we're getting snatched back into Saturn retrograde, which will actually happen June 4th, so just tomorrow. So I just want you to keep that in mind. If you haven't already checked out your monthly horoscope to see about the Saturn retrograde, what we do with that, all of the dates and the times for the full Saturn retrograde cycle and all of that good stuff, check it out in your monthly horoscope, okay? And I'll also make sure that I put that information in the description box down below. Now, as we are heading into this week, the week of June 6th, first of all, let me cover a couple announcements and then I promise we'll jump right in there. First things first, thank you so much again to our patrons and to everybody who is continuing to support the YouTube Academy. If you didn't have a chance to show up and see Melissa LaFara's Q&A and you still have some questions on dignities and debilities, make sure you click over into the Academy playlist and check that out, okay? The question and answer session is there as well. So you can check that out. Now, I am your next teacher, and we will be coming together on June 8th, and we are going to be going over how you actually pull your chart and use other things in astro.com. So the questions that you have about that and the introduction to astrology, which includes the chart anatomy. So if you're still like, Stormy, listen, I don't have any Leo in my chart, come sit down, live Q&A with me, and I'm going to show you the anatomy of that chart so you can see everything that is in there, the housing structure, all of that good stuff, okay? Now, big announcement that I have for you guys today, coming off of going to the OPA conference and the NORWAC conference and the things you guys are teaching me here online as well, I have developed two really divine, intimate packages that I am putting out there. They are first come, first served, but one of them is a business development package, and the entire package is $300, and it is for the next 6 months of this year. We are going to work together and get your business where it needs to be. Okay, big deal. Check it out. I put a link in the description box down below. You can also check out the community tab because I put information over there. The other one is a lunar connection package. I am seeing so many of us work too hard against our energetic balance that is available. So for the next 6 months, I've got a $200 package, which both of these packages, they are not normally this price, like at all, but I'm in a good place so I can offer these out to help you get connected, and I want to. Small groups are going to be happening. There's 10 in the business program. There's 5 in the lunar program. So if that's you, and if you're like, yes, I would like to be working smarter, not harder in my business, in my personal life, in my relationships, in whatever, let's get together and connect. I saw a need for it, and I'm really excited to do that work, okay? All right, announcements done. Put that box away. Let's get to the weekly horoscope. We're coming into the week this week, first of all, with the moon in the energy of Virgo. Okay, so think about that as we're coming in right here on Monday. The energy is in Virgo, but it's lunar. So I want you to put your hand on your heart and feel through the Virgo places in your chart. Where does Virgo rule in your chart? I'm a Virgo rising. So the moon is going to be moving over that Virgo energy in a very present way for me. But emotionally, what happens for us or becomes available for us with the moon traveling through the energy of Virgo is that our emotional life, our home, our emotional responses, our reactions to other people become more grounded, right? They're more grounded, they're earthy, they're practical. We become a bit more meticulous about our thinking and also about the information that we are receiving. Now, emotionally, you can take this and become very, very critical of yourself and others. I wouldn't advise that, but ultimately, there's kind of a landing that I think becomes available in our energy that is a lot more grounded as the moon moves through Virgo. You may also feel yourself or the people even around you being a little bit more helpful, like they want to be of service, or maybe someone's helping you with some discernment. Why do you feel that way? Right. What do you need to be taken care of? What in your housekeeping needs to be taken care of? And that can be what in your house needs to be taken care of. When's the last time you had a good sweep? When's the last time you got to those baseboards? Because that's Virgo kind of work, right? Like, yeah, you may put your dishes away, but the baseboards, that's Virgo work. But also in your spiritual, your emotional, your psychological housekeeping, what's on your mind? What's floating through that space? What's rising to the surface, calling for your attention? Virgo energy wants your space. It wants your energetic body. It wants your emotions, in this case, to be the very best that they can be, the most healthy. So what rises to the surface for you at this time is definitely going to be worth taking a look at, okay? So just kind of keep that in mind. Now, we're also going to have on Monday the 6th, we're going to have the sun come into a sextile with Chiron. Now, whenever the planets have sex, that's good for us because they create a pocket of opportunity. And this is actually a planet and an asteroid, but they create a pocket of opportunity, but then we intelligently take action on the opportunity that has been presented to us. Okay, so think about this. Between the sun, which is just beaming with light, heat, life, vitality, a willingness to move, a desire to get things done, to radiate and to shine and to be known in a certain way or a certain space. In a sextile with Chiron, our wound, right? Some kind of wound, but Chiron right now is in a really good space, in a really good place. Chiron has had a really nice opportunity to come forward and retrograde and re-identify with the identity. So any wounds you have had for the last couple of years around your identity, some of them have likely been soothed. Some of them have likely had a healing. Now, as the sun is pouring into the sextile, into Chiron's energy like that, it is like, come forth. Come through you, right? Like come out and shine and present yourself and let us see the work that you've been doing and how your new identity has been reshaped to get you where you are now, regardless of what that looks like. Now, another thing I think is profound to do with Chiron sun energy like this is to take a minute and look back at where you came from. Look back at your life a year ago, look back at your life 5 years ago, and regardless of what it looks like today, likely there has been some kind of growth. What patterns of growth and development can you spot when you look back and look into your current reality too? Where can you see yourself developing patterns that continue to support and hold the identity that you're growing with and the success in the directions that you'd like to go? Isn't that delicious that we have these cosmic and energetic opportunities to kind of pause for a cause? Look back at that inner child or that inner teenager or that inner person where there was a wound and say, you know what, I get you a little bit more, and we're actually doing really good right now. I think that's really profound. So I hopefully I'm all passionate about it. Obviously, hopefully you guys will take advantage of that. Okay, let's roll into Tuesday. We're first and foremost on Tuesday, we are moving into the space of the first quarter moon. Okay, so at the first quarter energy, what we really want to be, what we'd like our energy to be doing is we're decisive. We're making decisions under the first quarter moon. Remember, the first quarter energy is really about taking down what was old and putting up something new. So in your first quarter energy, right, we've just had a new moon. What are you seeing is starting to fall away to make room for that new moon request or intention that you put out? Now in the first quarter moon, you are in action. You are taking action. You are moving in a future-minded direction towards what you requested and what you posted as an intention at our new moon energy, okay? Now, this particular moon is also trine to Venus in Taurus. So Venus in domicile, right? So you're over here with this delicious Virgo moon trining Venus in Taurus. Gifts are coming towards you, right? There is an ease that can be coming here. There's a pathway of access of success, but you have to go to the opportunity. Okay, you do have to go to it. But the other thing I think of is when you get an Earth trine, doing things that are quite practical will be of benefit to you. But Venus is that attracting energy in Taurus. So also what I would encourage you to do is look at, are you thinking, are you acting, are you moving too small? Right? Remember, Venus in Taurus, it wants that like luxury bag experience. It wants the most delicious version. Maybe even it's a little gaudy, a little tacky of what it is that you would like to experience. So if you're keeping it too small, this might be a wonderful opportunity with that moon in Virgo to say, wait, discernment says here, we're actually not giving ourselves enough credit for the direction that we'd like to be traveling in. So think about that as we're roaming and rolling through Tuesday. Now on Wednesday, we're going to see the moon move into that energy of Libra. So the emotional body can become a little bit more balanced, also a bit more minded, right? And it's not just romance. It's not just romantic partnership. The first partnership, especially when I think about the moon for each of us, is the partnership of ourself and whatever we call that divine connection, whether you call it God, you call it the universe, you call it my center, you call it my higher self, whatever it is that you see fit to call that partnership, alliance and alignment, especially within your own emotional life. This is where the moon in Libra is also calling balance and partnership to the table. The next place I think about, especially with Venus, the ruler of Libra in the energy of Taurus, is I think a lot about our bodies, you guys. You know, with the moon in Libra, are you treating your body like a slave or a servant instead of a partner? Where are you at with your physical partnership? Where are you at with your financial partnership? Are you treating money like a slave instead of a partnership? Are you being a slave to finances, financial decisions, things like that, where it needs to be a partnership, right? This can be a wonderful time to be looking at on an emotional level where you can be regrounding and rebalancing out with that. Then, of course, just practical partnerships will also get a little bit of salve and maybe come to the table a bit more. Now, we're also going to see as we continue through that this moon in Libra is going to oppose Mars that is in Aries, right? So we're in an opposition, two sides going different ways. I feel like I want to do this, but Mars in Aries, I'm doing this, right? So how I feel about it and what I'm doing are going in two different different directions. So one of the things we want to remember is when we're dealing with an opposition, we don't need it to get further away. That's going to create more tension and stress, right? So instead, in an opposition, we're looking for the compromise, the sweet spot in the middle. So what's the sweet, tasty spot for you between what you're feeling, what your intuition is saying, where you're being guided in a space that's maybe more quiet and it can align with the actions that you are taking? One great example I think about this is, first of all, right? Think partnership, Moon in Libra. Okay, I feel out of balance, or this partnership in my life is out of balance in some way, but Mars in Aries, what can I do to hold down my part and only my part of any given partnership to make sure I'm showing up the very best that I can? This is a wonderful use to bridge the gap in that opposition. Now, of course, if we're not bridging the gap of the opposition, it may just feel like we're going in two entirely different directions. It can even feel in the heat of an opposition like we're in two extremes of a situation, right? And you don't want the extreme of either side. Actually, I don't even want to say that. You may need in your lessons to experience the extreme of either side so that you can understand how to find the balance in the middle of that opposition. So if that's what you need, whatever your lessons bring you this week, don't be afraid of them. The universe has your back. But if you can avoid being too extreme, it's probably a little bit easier. Now, the other thing I do think that this opposition, if you find the sweet spot, is good for, is that it will help you. It will help you say and do what you need to do instead of being roundabout with it, right? Because Libra wants everybody's opinion, Aries wants nobody's opinion. So in the middle somewhere, we say and talk about what we need to, but in a way that can be a little bit more pleasant. So if there are business conversations, decisions, things like that that need to happen, feel free to know that you are well supported under that particular opposition, okay? All right, we move forward and we see the moon's going to enter into the energy of Scorpio. Okay, now remember, the moon is considered to be in fall, and I very much so put that in quotes. If you didn't see Dignities and Debilities, check out that video. But the moon is considered to be in fall in the energy of Scorpio, and that's because the moon wants to feel, and it wants to relate, and it wants to react, and it wants to be in its own kind of bubble of swift, easy movement like that. But in Scorpio, it has to drop down so far that an ease of movement doesn't really feel that way. It's loaded with intensity. There's passion. It's psychic. It's intuitive. So in a sense, what it can feel like is an overload for our emotional bodies in the energy of Scorpio. Now, where I think we can use that and hone that in is, first of all, if you get to Moon and Scorpio time, which we experience every month, ground your feet down, put your physical hands on something next to you, and ground down into your psychic sense. Breathe into it, breathe through it, and say, what am I seeing here? What am I being shown? Where is this intensity coming from? Because a real treat for the moon in Scorpio is to get to the root of things. This is why I'm afraid. This is why I'm envious. This is why I'm jealous. This is where I'm deeply passionate. This is what I love, right? There's a real strength in getting to the root and the heart of it, but sometimes you got to ground all that depth of water down through your body so that you have a place to process that through. So if that's something you need or that works for you, please do that. Now, we're also on the 10th going to see Mercury, who's in Taurus, in a trine to Pluto, who's in Capricorn. So another Earth Trine this week. So be practical. Practicalities are really working out for us this week. And it's not just because I'm a Taurus, okay? So we can see in the Mercury-Pluto trine, and keep in mind that Mercury is now out of retrograde, so it's direct. It's not to the end of its full retrograde cycle, so we won't have full forward until June 18th, and Pluto is in retrograde. However, they do have a nice conversational dynamic going on right now. So Mercury-Pluto in general but back into something you were already looking at because Mercury's back in Taurus. So what are you going back to in the Taurus section of your chart that you're bringing your intense focus into? Right? Mercury, Pluto, this trine, first of all, offers that pocket of opportunity, but you have to go to it. So if you needed to dig for information, research, if you needed intense focus, if you've got all of this moon and Scorpio energy and you're like, I need to get to the root of what's going on. This is a steadying and earthing of the mind and the place that you are attempting to transform that can help what has risen to that moon Scorpio surface to be used practically and to be understood. And really what we do when we do this is you set yourself up for some kind of success and better processing moving forward. So remember, check these areas of your chart. Where's your Taurus energy? Where's your Capricorn energy? Where's your Scorpio energy? Because this is an opportunity to really, I think, be very solution-based under this energy. Now, other sides of Mercury trine Pluto. Sometimes you will get or you will hear heavier energy. And it can feel heavy in the sense that maybe there's a proposal for some kind of change. And even though the change may be positive or may be useful, there's kind of that internal bubbling, that rising that can be, it can create anxiety. It can create natural human fear of, even if I'm excited, I'm not exactly sure what's next. So just know that that is going to be a strong information day, but it's likely talking about something you have already been exploring. Okay. Now, on the 11th, we're going to see Venus that's over in the energy of Taurus, so domicile, living her best life. I want to just share, too, that when Venus moved into Taurus, I was actually at Norwalk, and people gave me gifts. Like, it was very Venus and Taurus. It was very gift-giving, like jewels and gems came to me. So hopefully you guys got a little bit of that, okay? But Venus is over in Taurus, and it's conjunct Uranus in Taurus. If you have not listened to your monthly horoscope, please go listen to it, okay? Now, Venus and Uranus coming together, watch out. We can be making meetups, connections, innovative ideas around financial matters or relationships. We can have these connections that come out of the blue. You absolutely can have a romance that comes out of the blue. But whatever it is, Venus and Uranus is a strong stamp to innovate. It's a place of different perspectives. It's a place of different ideas. It's the place where if you've been sitting on the fence about anything in your Taurus house, Uranus is really like, boom, hitting the lightning bolt, right? It comes to break it up and say, make a decision, innovate, go this direction, try this, say this, do this, whatever it looks like. Just know this is really a lightning bolt kind of day. It's a lightning bolt kind of energy. Now, depending on where these hit and what it looks like in your chart, not every conjunction is just the happiest of conjunctions, and not everyone is bad. You've always got the spectrum of what it's going to look like based on your life and your vibration. Now, Venus in Taurus, if something has been off key, or let's say you forgot about something, this could bring it back to your attention. Now, it's Uranian energy. It's not going to stick around for long. This is not the consequence or the benefit of your everlasting life, but it will give you a perspective rearrangement for sure. It will call to your attention to make a different decision. If you thought you had absolutely paid that bill during Mercury retrograde, maybe you are being brought back to see that, no, that was not the case. If you were making a relationship decision, you were like, oh, we made these vacation plans. You might find out that something happened with the hotel. It's a real innovator. So course correction really quickly doesn't tend to last forever. Okay. So keep that in mind. Whatever comes and it changes the course and the direction of what you got going on, it just simply doesn't mean that it is the end of the world, but it will cause some shakeups, and it will definitely cause shakeups to finances. It will definitely cause shakeups to relationships, whatever that looks like for you. Sometimes you need that shakeup. You know, you're in the best partnership you've ever been in your life, to include the partnership of you with you, but it's kind of been the same. You know, a real low vibration of Tauran energy is to sentence that particular area of your chart to a life of boredom, right? Are you bored in the Taurus areas of your chart? Look at them. Is there anything going? Because if it's about relationship, or it's about finances, or even if it's about your value, you cannot couch potato your Taurus energy, because it'll stay low and slow and get boring. And what I mean is, your relationships, a relationship that grows stale is going to grow stale, right? Money that is just sitting somewhere, not being active in any way, is couch potato money, which means it's not going to make you any more money, right? Your values. If you want self-esteem, you have to do esteemable things. We've got to get out and see ourselves carry the value that we are believing ourselves to have out in our world and in our spaces, in whatever way that works for you. So keep that in mind, friends, okay? Now, after all of that excitement, we're going to start to come in and through the weekend, and we see the moon move into the energy of Sagittarius, which I always feel like is so nice, right? Emotionally, we've come off of whatever revelation has come out of the Taurus energy, of the Scorpio energy. And then we move to the moon in Sagittarius, and it's like, emotionally, I want to explore the possibilities. Emotionally, I'm open to seeing what's beyond my horizon, because try to desire something mentally and go after it. It's really hard. But when we are moved from an internal place, like the moon, our emotions, right? When I am motivated from the inside out, I move like a fish in water. There's a lot more ease that becomes available. So here, everything we've been shown to process this week, we're a little bit more emotionally available for the new experience and the adventure of what it's bringing to the table. Okay. All right. Now I know it's going to be, hold on, let me just double check. Let me not know. Let me double check. I'm going to say it. We're going to be a day early, but I want to talk about it really quickly. We're going to see on Monday, I'm going to talk about this next week too, but we're going to see on Monday that Mercury moves back into the energy of Gemini. So now, between 26 degrees of Taurus and 0 degrees of Gemini, that work is likely done, okay? Because we evaluated those things in the Mercury retrograde. So think about it, between 26 Taurus in your chart and 0 Gemini, what were you working on? Because as we get to the 13th, so next Monday, we're going to see ourselves do the work that was happening from 0 degrees of Gemini to 4 degrees of Gemini. Then by the 18th, we're moving fully forward, new information, new ideas, new decision making, okay? So I just want you to kind of get prepped for that, even as we're coming into Monday morning. Plus, Monday morning, even though it's a moon day, and we kind of need to settle in, work with the moon, since that's the planetary ruler of Mondays, Mercury will be back in Gemini. So we'll be quick moving thoughts, conversations. You know, it may be the Monday that you go in where you're like, did everybody email me at 2 a.m.? How is this possible? So keep in mind that we're coming in next week with a very intellectual energy. And by next week, I mean, June 13th. Okay. So just keep that in mind as we travel this week and we get ready to circle into next week, which will be a full moon week. And we will talk about that as well. All right, my absolutely beautiful friends, check out the packages that are now available for you. And if that is you, I look forward to connecting with you. We will see each other on June 8th for the Q&A for the YouTube Academy, where I will be your next teacher. And then Jamie Lee will be coming in just behind me, going over the luminaries, so the sun and the moon. And we are continuing on as we move through the rest of the YouTube Academy. So I look forward to connecting connecting with each of you as we continue to travel. So I love you guys, and I will see you next week. Bye, everybody.